Happy summer! Happy summer, everybody! I can only assume that you're out there. What a beautiful day, right? Do you have a good day? You everybody get outside? Are you looking forward to summer? That makes one of us. I want to be honest with you people because I feel like I can trust you. But summer is like in my bottom 5 seasons. It's like the lower tier. And that's because like in the cold months, I can cover up a little bit. You know, we got a jacket, a sweater, something like that. But in the summer, I got to kind of strip down and show it off. And I have my body type I would charitably describe as Yukon Gold. And yes, you're looking at me, you're thinking a specimen like that. That does remind me of the exhilaration, the bracing fun of discovering riches in the outback of Alaska with a faint whiff of ponderosa pine. And yet I was referring to the potato, but with legs, you know, like potato and legs. But I do like the music for summer, and there's been a lot of music written for summer. Some of the earliest stuff has been what I would describe as descriptive, so it's kind of like sounding like summer sounds. And like Vivaldi's Summer, you know that one? From the Four Seasons, so it starts kind of scritchy-scratchy, there's a storm in there, and like storms were a big deal back then when a hailstorm in the summer could wipe out your crops. Think of that whole thing. That's Vivaldi, that's like a weather forecast. It's gonna be hot with a chance of showers later, clearing in the evening. And then there's music for the summer that was written for the outdoors, the serenades. And probably, one of the best outdoor pieces of all is Handel's water music, the Despacito of 1717. It was a big party on the Thames. Handel was asked to write a piece of music to play on barges while the musicians were floating along with the king. And the king liked it so much, he asked them to keep playing it for hours and hours and hours, which is the first documented use of auto-repeat in music history. And then the Romantics came along. Okay, so that's like the other trend, and this is what we've been living with ever since, is that the Romantics come along, and their idea of summer is totally different. It's more about lounging in the grass and reading poetry and getting syphilis. And that's kind of what we're still wrestling with today. And we're going to get some of that. Not the syphilis part, but that sound, I don't know. The night's still young. But we're going to get the sound at least tonight with some of the amazing musicians that we have. So we've got music that includes Mozart. We've got music that includes Fauré. We also have a classical magician. All right? Whatever that is, it's going to be here. And we also have some wonderful beers. So the way the beer jam works, those of you, are there a lot of first-timers here? Let me use my good eye for this. So first-timers. Okay. So you've got some Alpenflow from our friends at Six Point, and we're going to be sampling some of their beer through the night. And so we're going to bring out a beer, and you're going to meet the person who works at the brewery and is behind this beer. And so what I would ask is, does everybody yet have their first beer? Not yet. The beer is getting passed around. All right, beer. Make your way around. Fly like the wind. And then we'll pair it with a performance. And that is how we get to appreciate all the wonders of craft beer and also classical music. And it's our firm belief that you can fall in love with anything when there's a little bit of beer involved. So I like to bring to the stage someone who's with Six Point Brewery, who's providing all the beers. In fact, you got an Alpenflow when you came in today, I hope, right? I see a lot of you have that already. But please welcome a real star. You loved him in Ray. Please welcome Jamie Foxx. Amazingly versatile.
Yes. I can play many roles.
So Jamie, the role you play at Six Point Brewery in Brooklyn is what?
So I do events and sponsorships, strategic partnerships, and sales.
All right. Would you consider this a sale or a strategic partnership? Where are we?
Neither.
All right. And you are a Cicerone.
I am.
What is a Cicerone exactly?
A beer nerd. I am a certified beer nerd.
So how does that, how do you get certified as a Cicerone?
So it's kind of like a sommelier.
Uh-huh.
You have to know how to turn your nose up at people when they order the wrong thing.
I bet classical people can do that.
Right,
okay.
yeah. And, be able to taste the beer and tell where it's from and, what country it might be from.
And at the end of the certification process, you're like, "You are so certified, man! I love you!"
No, I just slept for like a week. Yeah. I didn't drink beer for like a month.
All right, so tell us, so does everybody now have this first beer? All right, so tell us a little bit about this first beer.
So this is Jammer.
Okay.
I am in love with this beer. It's my favorite beer that 6 Point makes. It's my favorite beer I've ever had. It's a Goza, if you guys are familiar with that style.
Well, let's give us an elevator pitch on Gozas.
Sure. So it's a beer made with sea salt and coriander. It originated in Germany in the 1600s. Sorry, 16th century. Close.
That's right. Yeah.
Close, yeah.
It's an old beer.
It's old. It's very old. And the reason there's sea salt in it is because the original water that the beer was made with was salty. So they added coriander to kind of balance that out.
All right, classical nerds. Where this beer started was also very close to where Bach grew up. So the water near his
Bach
home.
made this beer.
Yeah. But he certainly would have drank it. All right, I'm going to take a sip here.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So why the
do you
coriander?
think?
I like it.
I think the coriander is just to balance out the saltiness. Honestly, I don't know. That's just how it's always been.
I understood that Gozas had a lot of aromatics
They
and
do.
other things for that flavoring.
Yeah. So my favorite story about Gozas is that during World War II, the last Goza brewery burned down, and all the recipes were destroyed. So a man in the late 1950s, I believe, went around to bars talking to people and interviewing them about what Gozas tasted like so he could recreate them.
Amazing.
Because he had no recipes. So we think this is what it tastes like, but we could be completely wrong.
All right, so the theme of the show is summer. Give me a high point and a low point of New York City in the summer.
Man, I love summer. Unlike
Okay,
you.
that's
Sorry,
all right.
summer is
It's all
my
right.
favorite season. So everything is the high point, and the low point is Manhattan. I live in Brooklyn, so you know when you get off the train in Manhattan and you feel like the humidity and just, it's kind of oppressive. But, we have the Rockaways.
Nice.
we have
I
Coney
have Manhattan
Island.
getting upset on the left-hand
Sorry,
side.
but you know what I
see
mean.
that.
It gets really hot, but summer is the best. Everyone's outside and drinking on roofs, and
Right.
it's the best.
And you got an outdoor event tomorrow at 6 Point?
We do actually, yeah. It's called Jammer Day. Jammer Day.
Jammer.
Like
Okay.
I'm obsessed with Jammer. So we made 3 variants of this beer, and we're serving them, and we have empanadas and DJs, and if you're in Red Hook, come on down.
All right. Well,
Should be
Jamie
fun.
Foxx, thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
this. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, it's in Red Hook.
In Red Hook.
40 Van Dyke, and we're open from 11 to 7. In Red Hook at 40 Van Dyke Street. We're across from IKEA. Easiest way to find us.
I'll text it to you.
Go to IKEA and then look for people who are kind of drunk and waving around. Thanks.
They're all here. Thank you, Jamie Foxx from 6 Point and this Jammer Goza. Okay, so we're going to start out with a little music. So while you're drinking this Goza, which is so delicious, I want to tell you a little story about this next piece. Franz Liszt was, for a lot of times, people talk about him as like the rock star, the first classical music. People were crazy about him. There's something called Listomania that took hold. And a lot of times, classical people trot this story out to prove they're cool. Like, we had somebody who they were screaming, they were throwing corsets on the stage for that guy, which is like your old uncle saying, like, I may not look like much now, but you should have seen me 200 years ago. I was really something back then. But Franz Liszt had a major talent for taking art songs and turning them into solo piano works that really stuck with you. And one of the composers he really championed was Franz Schubert. So it turns out that though they weren't of the same generation, they did meet. Liszt had relocated to Vienna to study in 1822, late 1822, and in 1823 he met. And thanks to some painstaking research and some modern technology, I can recreate for you the meeting between Franz Liszt and Franz Schubert. Kid, you're the real deal. I've heard them all. Thanks, Mr. Schubert. I really like your songs. Maybe when I'm dead, you'll play them over the world and make them famous. I can do that. Hey, do you think it's weird that everybody in classical music is named Franz? Yeah, it's kind of weird. What are you going to do? Thank you. That is the original conversation between Franz Liszt and Franz Schubert, 1823. Painstakingly researched and performed for you tonight. To share with you one of the transcriptions that Franz Liszt actually made of a Schubert song, please welcome pianist Conrad Tao. actually played. So you can take this microphone if you like. So I could tell you that Conrad just won a Lincoln Center Emerging Artist Award, or that last year his concert in the Crypt was named as one of the best classical performances of the year by the New York Times. But you also got to hear in person just what he can do with the piano, which is amazing. So we have one more round of applause for that. It was fantastic. So Conrad, tell us about that Liszt transcription of the Schubert song Du bist der Ruhe.
It's just really good. It's just really beautiful. And you know, what's nice about it is it's not that I have an issue with the list that I think a lot of people are familiar with, the very performative, the very like presentationally virtuosic list. I think there's like something appealing about, I think for this transcription, there's a kind of sonic virtuosity where, you know, you can play a lot with resonance and you can play a lot with shape, and I don't know, it's very satisfying to play as a pianist. I think it's like getting really inside the sound.
You know, Liszt himself, especially later in life, liked to think of his work as painting more so than just showing off what he could do with his fingers. Does that resonate for you when you play this work?
I think it resonates actually with most Liszt. I think that the presentationally virtuosic Liszt is also more interesting when you treat it like that. When you treat virtuosity as like the text of the work as opposed to like the register at which you perform the text of the work, I think it becomes a little bit more interesting. And so I think thinking of it as a painting makes everything seem more gestural and makes everything seem a little bit more human. It's not about, I think a lot of the times the way that virtuosity is construed is like it's a sort of deifying, and it's kind of this reveling at seeming impossibility. But I think that actually what's interesting about virtuosity is the fact that it requires someone to be trying to do something that seems impossible. And to me, that effort and that humanness is actually much more interesting. So somehow thinking of it as like, you know, it just makes it more purposeful in my mind.
Let's talk about the summer. High point, low point, summer New York City.
It should be illegal to be in Manhattan in August.
So I hear.
It should be totally like
Manhattanites representing. I like that.
Oh my God, are you kidding? I moved here when I was 9 years old. This city is one gigantic case of Stockholm syndrome. But no, so it's funny. I mean, like on the one hand, it should absolutely be illegal to be in Manhattan in August. But also, I moved here when I was 9, and I had so many years of just like living in hot garbage juice. So there is a part of me that I'm like, I don't know, if I went somewhere where I was like living in more sensible conditions, I don't know, I might miss something.
Funny thing, hot garbage juice is going to be our third beer tonight.
Nice.
They're really pushing the envelope here at 6
It's a good band name too.
But let's move on to the fall too. So
well, actually, like let me say
summer.
one thing I like about summer.
Oh yeah.
Which is
It
again
wasn't
as
hot
a
garbage juice?
No, no. But that's more of a contentious but like understanding relationship. But I love. No, I live in Washington Heights now, and one of the nicest things. Yes. And one of the great things about the summer months up there is that everyone's outside. Everyone's outside, and people are breaking fire hydrants, and there's like, and I always know when the weather's getting warmer because people start having like gatherings around cars that are blasting music, and it's like, it's really, really wonderful. It feels so like real, and it feels so human, and it feels, it's really, I love it. It's so nice.
That's a cool thing, because I think the sense of humanness really cuts through both your interpretation of life in New York City and also the way you're playing that Liszt.
It's what I chase after.
In the fall, you've got a work being premiered by the commissioned by the New York Philharmonic. Can you say a little bit about that?
I can definitely say a little bit about it because today was officially my my deadline for the score.
Wait, you just finished it today?
Well, I finished the boring parts, the engraving and making it look presentable and readable. And I'm like putting myself on blast, so I guess I'm allowed to do that. I was like 3 months behind. So this is a very important deadline for me. I'm like, okay, I actually did the thing, I'm done. Yeah, the piece is called Everything Must Go. And the exciting thing, and this is something I knew from the very beginning of the writing process, it's going to be progressing directly into Bruckner 8. with no interruption, which is very thrilling as a composer because it provides you with a clear context for the work. You know what's coming after. You kind of understand. It allows one to think about what the function of the work is and what the dramatic goals of the work might be, and in a very directed way, which I'm very grateful for, because the worst thing you can tell a composer is you can write anything you want. And I'm really excited about it. The title is about a few different things, but I was really into the idea of, I had this image in my mind of a cathedral melting and gaining sentience through its like melting, its like ostensible decay. So that was one thing I was thinking about. I was thinking a lot about the sort of classic French overture rhythm, da-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Listening to a lot of the Dido and Aeneas overture, and I was thinking about cinematic title sequences, the best of which are like distinct pieces of filmmaking that relate but perhaps like obliquely to the overall piece, and which I think, given the context, is something that I thought was fun to think about. And then also, like, I was very interested in thinking about pleasure, like how one seeks out pleasure, how one executes pleasure in their own lives, and I was very interested in how pleasure can often be used. Pleasure, I would argue, like surface pleasure, can often be used as like a way of sort of like an ideological controlling tool. And so I was very interested in thinking, I was just thinking a lot about how can you pursue pleasure in a way that's more, that carries real intention and like has a political charge. So I was very interested in that. And so, I don't know, there's a lot of things floating around in the piece.
Yeah. When it premieres?
September 27th and 28th. And then on the 28th, I'm also doing a program, a new series, I think it's been announced, a new series called Nightcap, which takes place in the Kaplan Penthouse in the Rose Building, and that will be a program kind of linked to the Philharmonics program, but also a little bit reflective of my own sounds, perhaps.
September 27th and 8th.
Please
Conrad's
come.
out with the New York Phil. His music being played by the New York Philharmonic, conducted by Jaap van Zweden. That's pretty amazing. I'm going to ask you to share one more piece of music with us. What do you have for us?
So I'm going to play one more song, and it's another love song, and it's Soir, or Evening, by Fauré.
Thank you. Conrad Tell.
And it's my transcription.
All right.
So.
Conrad Tao. Thank you, Conrad. Thank you so much. And remember, you will see much more from Conrad in the months to come, but also the years to come. Obviously, someone with amazing talent. All right, well, the tote bag is out, and that means it is time for Classical Beer Jam trivia. I've got a very eager volunteer on the left-hand side, on my left. Please come on up. You seem like you've been, run. This is good. I love it. Wow. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Matt.
Deborah.
Deborah, welcome.
Thank you.
Deborah, where are you from?
Long Island, New York.
All right, and you live in Long Island?
Actually, technically, Long Island City now.
Oh, welcome. All right, Queen's in the house. All right, so here's the way we play Classical Beer Jam Trivia. This is the WQXR Taxi Tote Bag. During our membership drives, you hear us talking about how member dollars make everything we do possible. Still true. We talk about our taxi tote as being an MC Escher design. It was actually done by Kristoff Grabner, inspired by taxi cabs and pianos. And inside is the one and only, we got a beer koozie, right? It's going to be helpful this summer. And also the WQXR Leonard Bierstein. And the way the trivia questions work is that with a last name like Abramovitz, I always prefer 4 questions. And I'm going to ask you 4 questions. If you get any of them right or wrong, you will get this tote bag. So that's what hangs in the balance. I'm going to hold the tote bag. I'm not ready to give it up just yet. And so the theme for tonight's trivia is, I know what you composed last summer. We're going to be talking about composers and their summer vacations. Do you feel ready to play?
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right, Deborah, you're doing a great job so far. In the summer of 1788, Mozart found a spacious new apartment on the outskirts of Vienna. He found it on VRBO, Vienna Rental by Obergruppenführer. What did a summer away in his new comfortable digs allow him to do? A, finally get a chance to appreciate the subversive wit and unconventional narrative structure of Infinite Jest. Put the finishing touches on his meticulously composed overture to Don Giovanni. Blaze through writing 3 new symphonies that he himself declared to be amazeballs. Or D, cut out gluten from his diet and all that added sugar and lost like 10 pounds within the first week.
B.
Actually, he blazed through 3 new symphonies in 7 weeks. The 39th, 40th, and 41st. The Don Giovanni Overture, interesting story, he wrote overnight while hungover. You are 0 for 1 so far. You're doing very well. It was the summer of 1904 when Claude Debussy started writing La Mer, the Sea, a work that is now considered a masterpiece of musical impressionism. Which body of water helped inspire Debussy to finish La Mer? In other words, where was La Mer finally prepared? Was it A, at home in Paris, sitting in his claw-footed bathtub where he did all his serious thinking? Was it B, along the English Channel, vacationing with his in-laws? C, in Cannes, looking out at the Mediterranean coast of his youth? Or D, in the Atlantic Ocean aboard a steamship bound for New York between chapters of Infinite Jest?
C.
He actually completed La Mer on the English Channel, because there is nothing like a vacation with the in-laws that gets you focused on a task you'd rather not finish. You are within reach of this tote bag right now. Here we go. Question number 3.
Am I allowed to crowdsource?
I think with so much at stake, I'd hate to give it all away.
Okay.
As a young man, the composer Alban Berg was not the healthiest of people, and once on summer vacation, he came down with a bad asthma attack. Luckily, there was a doctor at the hotel, Dr. Sigmund Freud. When asked to help the little wheezing Alban Berg, Freud did what? A, asked him about his mother and how he described their relationship. B, whipped out his personal recipe for a hot mustard pack to put on the young man's chest. C, recommended the boy relax and just focus on the subversive wit and unconventional narrative structure of Infinite Jest. Or D, he was unable to help young Alban Berg. The crowd is sourcing you right now. I'm just saying, they're sourcing you all over.
A.
He might have asked about the mother, but at the end, he was not able to help Alban Berg, proving to all of us that Freud was a doctor, just not the kind that can help people. All right. You are cruising to a strong finish, and I feel good about this one. I do. Deborah, so far, You are right in the zone. Consistent. I like that. Maurice Ravel was vacationing one summer in Saint-Jean-de-Luz on France's Atlantic coast, just north of the Spanish border. You ever been there? Me
Yeah.
neither. You have?
Wait, where?
Saint-Jean-de-Luz?
No.
Okay. For a second there, you're going to have to bring out
I
photos.
do like Spain, though.
Oh, okay. Now, just as he was getting ready to go for a swim, a thought popped into his head. And what was that thought? Was it A, I wonder if I left the iron plugged in? B, I wonder if I could write a whole composition based on a single theme? C, I wonder if I could turn the story of Pelléas and Melisande into an opera? Or D, I wonder if I really understand the subversive wit and unconventional narrative structure of Infinite Jest?
B.
Congratulations, Deborah! Woo! I felt it was in the room. They want you to win. Yes, that's right. And audience, can I crowdsource the answer? What work by Ravel that he got on this idea on vacation? That's right. One single theme, elaborated through orchestration and repetition, became Bolero. One of the pieces he liked least, but audiences liked the most. Deborah, congratulations. You're a winner of Classical Beer Jam Trivia! Woo! Thank you, Deborah. And thank you for playing I Know What You Composed last summer. All right, does everybody have their second beer? What was it called? Garbage beer juice? Is that what we... Hot garbage juice, okay. All right, that's not what it's really called. To tell us, please welcome Max Finance of 6 Point Brewery. Cheers. So, Max, am I getting your last name right? Is it Finance, Fiancé? I'm talking about Maurice Ravel and Saint Louis.
Finance, whatever you want to call me. As long as I know you're talking to me, I'm a happy guy.
So tell me, I hear you're also a Cicerone.
I'm actually an advanced Cicerone,
Whoa.
which in true...
Holy cow. Hold on. You want this to drop?
So, Jamie's a Cicerone. There's about 3,000 of them in the world. There's about 75 advanced Cicerones, which means in true NPR fashion, I get to turn my nose up at more people. I can make that joke because I'm also a monthly giver, so.
All right, that's what I like to hear. So tell us a little bit about the beer that we have in our hands right now.
So Citrus Jammer is an expansion on the same base beer that Jamie described to you guys, the Jammer. Jammer we've done, this is our 4th year now. The Citrus Jammer, we've added lemon juice and lime juice to make it a little bit more tart and a little bit more complex, a little bit more fruity.
All right. All right, so a little tart, a little fruity, I get that. And still with the salt.
Still with the salt. Yep, same base style, which is a Goza.
Right.
So German classic style, a little bit salty, a little bit of coriander, just slightly tart, refreshing, really easy drinking style. This is one you want to have a bunch of on a hot summer day.
Let's talk about summer, Max.
Let's talk about summer, Matt.
High-low summer in New York City.
I think the high is there's just so many great venues in New York City, Manhattan, and Brooklyn to sit outside on a patio and drink and enjoy the weather. Just last week, Jamie and I were hanging out with a guy who used to be one of our brewers at Rose's over in Prospect Heights. Great little patio out back, have some beers, enjoy the weather.
All right, low point?
I was going to make a joke about the garbage juice because...
Conrad already called that one.
Well, so we actually... It's a better joke for me, though, because we have an off flavor in beer called Mercaptan.
What's that?
Smells like garbage juice.
Where does this come from?
It comes from when the yeast in the beer dies, the cell wall breaks down, it releases all the chemicals that are inside the cell. A little bit more fitting descriptor for the flavor if you're the NPR crowd. It also smells like brie or camembert cheese. So next time you have some brie, think about garbage juice and you'll realize how scarily close they are.
You just ruined brie and
cheese.
juice at the same time.
I also love cheese, so I know it's weird.
All right, Max, thank you for sharing this with us so much.
Thank you very much.
Max Finance of 6 Point Brewery.
Hope you guys like it. Cheers.
All right, the Citrus Jammer. Thank you, Max. Cheers. So our next music is by that young asthmatic hipster, Alban Berg. Not successfully treated by Sidebar. He used to call Freud Dr. Slivovitz because that's what Freud drank all the time. So to share some of the music of Alban Berg, please welcome the amazing Samantha Hankey with Greg Kaler. Sam Hankey and Greg Kaler. Amazing. I'm going to give you this microphone, Sam. You stay there. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So that was Die Nachtigall from Berg's Sieben Frühlieder, or his 7 early songs, which he wrote the entire set completely separate, all individual pieces, and he threw them all together for Schoenberg's publisher to say, here's a song cycle. And he didn't think that they were all going to go together, and they go together beautifully. It takes you from night into day. So this one's kind of in the middle, and it talks about the nightingale and how the singing has made the roses spring up and bloom, and how a young girl is now becoming a woman.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. I'm going to just heap a little bit of praise on you. I hope you don't mind. So Sam recently won the Glyndebourne Opera Cup. Also is a recipient of the Richard Tucker Award, Career Grant. Yeah. Holy cow. And also has been selected to be part of Placido Domingo's Operalia. So, holy cow.
Yeah.
What do you do after that?
Just keep singing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you start singing?
I was in a town production of Annie when I was 6. I was in the chorus. I wasn't Annie. But I loved being on stage. I loved singing and the music. So my mom put me in voice lessons after that.
And how long before you were singing Alban Berg?
A while. Yeah. Yeah.
You're like you hard-knocked life, and then you're like halfway there.
Yeah.
you were just at singing inside a cemetery catacomb. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, it was this really cool project. It's a new work called The Rose Elf by a good friend, David Hertzberg. And the piece deals a lot with life and death and human tragedy. So it was just so fitting to perform it in a catacomb where behind the audience are these tombs of all these families and these people. So it made the piece really deep and dark. I think a lot of the audience was surprised just where we were able to take it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now that you played In the Grave, where are you going to go next? Like, will you have any other upcoming shows?
Yeah, next week I get to go to Massachusetts. I'm from Massachusetts, so I'm really excited about this one.
Okay, it's a New York crowd. I want you to be careful.
Sorry,
Somebody get her some Dunkin' Donuts coffee. You got to make her feel at home.
I think I'm a New Yorker now. I've been here for 7 years,
Okay.
so.
We'll see. We'll see.
But I'm doing some chamber music there.
Oh,
and,
fantastic.
a little cabaret music as well.
And would you mind sharing one more song from this cycle?
I'd love to. This is Sommertage, or Summer Days, and it's talking about how beautiful the light is and the emotions that come with summer.
All right, thank you. Sam Hankey, Greg Kaler. Samantha Hankey, Greg Kaler. This is amazing. What a gorgeous voice and great accompaniment. We're going to be hearing from Greg later. He's also a composer, and he did a setting of his own that he's going to share with us in a little bit. And Samantha's going to be out having a beer with us to enjoy the rest of the show. This is usually the point in the show when I sort of pretend to ask you for money, but I really do mean it. We're a public radio station, so who's not a member? All right, nobody's raising their hand now. That's fine. All right, if that's how you're going to play it, that's cool. I have your email addresses. We know it's going. It'll work its way out one way or the other. So I'm so excited to. Well, I will tell you that even if you're not a member, all this, everything we do, the music we bring you every day, is because of member dollars. Couldn't be here without you, even doing these events. What I want to tell you is that our next artist is a classical magician. There has been talk backstage that by the end of the night, Schubert's 8th Symphony will have its final movement reappeared, unfinished, no more, We don't know, but we just know that magic is about to happen here in the Greene Space. Please welcome Igor Lipinski.
Thanks so much. I'd like to show you a great piece of magic. But this piece was not created by a magician per se. It was created by a pianist, Sergei Rachmaninoff. This is Rhapsody on a theme by Paganini. A theme and 24 variations written for the soloist, pianist, and symphony orchestra. Rachmaninoff borrows his theme from a violinist, Niccolò Paganini. The theme goes something like this. So, right from the very first page, Rachmaninoff captures your attention with this virtuosic introduction. Here comes variation 1. So for his first variation, Rachmaninoff uses only a few notes of the main theme. In his second variation, he not only uses the entire theme, but adds hints of dissonances to heighten your interest. So with every new variation, he adds another layers of complexities. But there are quite a few surprises along the way. So for example, variation 7 brings a completely new theme. This is a Gregorian chant, Dies Ira, a day of wrath. But this part is only played by the pianist. The orchestra continues with the main Paganini theme right underneath. So from this moment on, this piece becomes more than just about a simple display of the pianist's sleight of hand. There is conflict. The two themes begin harmoniously but end up in a battle of epic proportions by the end of the piece. But he has in store for us yet one final surprise. Listen to the opening of variation 18th. This is perhaps one of the most beautiful variation of the whole set. But the question is, where is our theme? Did it just disappear into a thin air? Well, some of you may know that it's still here, but it's hidden right before our eyes. Rachmaninoff employs smoke and mirrors to conceal the theme by turning it upside down. So remember the Paganini theme. The first 5 notes, if we start on A, Rachmaninoff goes 3 notes up, Paganini. In 18 variation, he goes 3 notes down. Instead of coming back to A, he does the opposite. Instead of taking that final leap, he I think this is an exquisitely crafted piece of magic. And since you now know the secret to the trick, I thought it would be neat to try writing a theme and variations of our own. What do you think? I usually do it with a deck of cards, obviously. And I have a few of you to select some cards. Would you be so kind and just touch one of those cards for me? Just this one here. Let's see what you got. Queen of Clubs. Well, we begin well. Okay. How about you, sir? Just touch the back of one of those cards for me. This one here. Let's see what you got. A 2 of Hearts. Please go ahead and memorize these cards for us. How about, would you be so kind and just touch one? Anyone you like. This one here. Let's see. 3 of Spades. But you, sir, would you be so kind just touch the back of one of those cards? Let's play 2 of Diamonds. And what is your name?
Sue.
Sue. Would you be so kind and just say stop while I riffle through the cards? Just say stop anytime you'd like.
Stop.
Right here. Okay, take the card. Take it out from the deck. What you got? Jack of Hearts. Okay, and I'm gonna ask you to sign your name across the face of that card. After all composers sign their work. Okay, got it. Let's put it back. All right, so the beautiful thing about composing a theme and variations this way is that because you've selected the 5 cards, now we can correspond those cards to the notes at the piano. So let me explain this to you. If we take an ace, the ace would be 1 or a C. Then the 2 is a C sharp. Then 3 is D. Then 4 is D sharp. Then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The 10th is an A. The Jack is B flat. And then the royal family, which belongs to B, either a queen or a king. So the first card you've selected was a Jack of Clubs. No, Queen. You're so impossible to trick. It's a Queen of Clubs, 2 of Hearts, 3 of Spades, 2 of Spades, and then what else was there? 2 of Diamonds and the Jack of Hearts. Okay, so the Queen, the royal family. So we start on B. That's pretty good, I must say. Then we go to 2. So an ace 1, then 2. So then 3, and then 2. Then the Jack is B flat. Well, that's pretty good for your first time. Okay, so if I add a simple accompaniment in the left hand, I can turn your theme into a waltz. By simply changing the left hand, I can turn your waltz into a nocturne. Or if we want to be wild, we can play a tango. I wonder what would happen if we turn your theme upside down, what Rachmaninoff did with the Paganini theme. So if we start on B, instead of going 2 notes up, we'd go 2 notes down. Instead of then taking that final leap down, we So your theme wasn't a waltz, it wasn't a nocturne, it wasn't even a tango. It was Turkish March by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. So here it is, our final variation, based on your theme turned upside down in the style of a Turkish pianist, Fazıl Say.
Igor Lipinski. You have a microphone.
Thank you. Yeah.
Should I call you the amazing Igor Lipinski? I'm feeling amazing right now. That's amazing.
Thank you. You should certainly not call me the amazing. But you know, before you go on, I must apologize to you because I know my pedaling was a little bit off today.
Yeah.
Because I've been carrying this thing in my shoe for the whole night. I don't know if you can see this. There is something inside of the shoe. If I turn this, it's a card. Sue, is this your signature?
Oh my God! What?
I think it belongs to you.
No way!
I'll take my pen back.
Wow!
Got my pen back.
That was incredible. So where do you go to classical magician school? Like, I'm just a muggle. I don't even know how to do that stuff.
There's a clown school, but there's no classical magician school. Well, I was started out by my great-grandfather, who did some simple but incredible card tricks back when I was growing up in Poland. And when he passed away, I inherited a book on card magic. And really, that journey began just then. And then I collaborated with different magicians throughout the years, and I performed all over Europe. But then, obviously, piano won me over. And I went to college for piano performance. But at my alma mater, Eastman School of Music, when I was a junior and senior, I enrolled in an honors program, musical arts major, that allowed me to combine both music and magic. So in addition to my senior recital, I actually performed music and magic as my honors thesis. And I worked with a theater professor, and it's sort of, from that moment on, I've been doing that show in several different venues like that.
Well, the reason we know about you here at WQXR is that a few years back we had a classical comedy contest, and you never guessed who was the winner. This guy. He came all the way to Caroline's on Broadway and competed with a whole bunch of classical comedians. And it is surprising there are a whole bunch of classical comedians. But we took one look at him and we knew that he was the love child of Victor Borge and Penn and Teller. And he was the winner. It was just so obvious. So where are you now when you're not here in New York performing classical magic?
Well, of all places, I'm based in Norman, Oklahoma. I heard some.
Wow, is Norman, Oklahoma
Yes.
in the house? I mean, really?
I
mean,
work
you're welcome
at,
here and all.
I work at the University of Oklahoma. I just joined the piano faculty there, and I couldn't be happier. It's a great piano program and wonderful students. So
I know that Oklahoma is known for its magic programs.
that I will perhaps start in a couple of years. Yes, I'll have to talk to the dean about that before.
So where do you what's the career trajectory of a classical magician? Like where do you go next? What are we going to Carnegie?
Oh, of course,
The
we're
White
going-
House?
Which White House? Right. Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I view myself as a pianist and as a serious musician, but bringing that interactive aspect to classical recital really makes it possible to perform it in a variety of venues, not only Carnegie, but venues like that with people drinking beer and enjoying themselves, enjoying great music. And I like that part of what magic brings to music, that intimacy, the close-up. And also, since I've been teaching for quite a while now, there's this educational aspect without teaching, because it's entertainment, but it tells you a lot about composers, and maybe you'll go back home and listen to the whole Rhapsody on your Spotify app.
Well, can we have a big round of applause for Igor Lipinski? I can tell you we've never seen anything like that before here in the Greene Space. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Igor Lipinski. I'm calling him the amazing Igor Lipinski. I did think initially that a classical magician would say, candelabra cadabra or something like that, but this is way beyond expectations. All right, so does everybody have their next beer? Yes? Okay, have you finished it already? Slow down. We got a long night ahead of us. I'd like you to meet the person who helped make that beer. Please welcome Marcus Lutter of 6 Point Brewery. All right. Marcus.
There you go, sir.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Marcus, this is delicious. What are we drinking?
So this is our fruit smoothie. This is the base beer for this beer is a New England IPA. So it's you'll see it's pretty hazy. It's got a lot of fruit character. A lot of that's coming from the hops, but you'll also notice we added a lot of actually fruit puree to it. So there's a lot of strawberry in there. We threw some vanilla and some lactose in there to give it a bit more body. So
this is beer not for the lactose intolerant. We should have warned people.
just a small amount.
I know my crowd. These are my people out here. All right, so it's got lactose. It is delicious. You said the New England IPA is hazy. Say a little bit more about what that beer is like.
So the New England IPA is a bit of a riff on your traditional IPA, except we're adding a lot more hops, and we're adding it more towards at different points in the process. So we're adding it more during the dry hopping section. So you're not getting a lot of that bitterness out of the hops. You're getting more of the flavor and aroma, as opposed to a traditional IPA, which has a lot of bitterness.
Now, you are the head brewer at 6 Point Brewery.
Yep.
How long have you been there?
I've been there for 4.5 years now.
And how did you get started making beer?
Making beer, I've been started doing home brewing. So doing 5-gallon batches at home on the stovetop. I got into the industry.
And when'd you go pro?
Yeah. So getting into the industry was more after my degree. I did chemical engineering, and that was kind of related process-wise in the whole industry. I got into the wine scene. I was out in Oregon, and I was working at a winery doing quality control. And then from there, I ended up moving out to Brooklyn. There's not a lot of wineries in the heart of Brooklyn.
Yes.
So I made the transition into beer.
Cool. And what's with the captain hat? Everybody from 6 Points has been wearing the same hat. Is you guys have matching hats, or is that one hat that I keep meeting?
I'm the captain now.
Before you go, two things. Tell us about Jammer Day tomorrow again. You said you're really excited about this because of the tequila. Tell me about this.
So
Yeah.
we did a couple riffs off of the Jammer recipe. You guys tried Citrus Jammer already. You tried the original Jammer. We now have, for tomorrow, we're going to be releasing a tequila barrel-aged Jammer and a gin barrel-aged Jammer. So, exactly. So they're tasting fantastic. They're a little stronger. We had to brew them to a higher alcohol because we're aging them in barrels. And when you're aging the barrels or aging the beer in barrels, you have to make sure they don't go bad. So the higher alcohol helps prevent that. And then we've been tasting them. They've been fantastic. These are honestly some of the best beers I feel we've ever made. So
Fantastic. Marcus Letter, head brewer of 6 Point. Summer high, summer low, New York City.
So summer high, I would say. So I have two-year-old twin girls that I have to.
God bless you.
Thank you. So I would say summer high is being able to go out to venues that are opening up to the summer weather. A place I like to go to is Greenwood Park, which is pretty near me. I'm down in Bay Ridge, so I don't get up into the heart of Brooklyn or Manhattan very often with the kids. So the closer the better for me. So I would say similar to what other people have been saying, just enjoying the weather and just being able to be outside and having good times. So
Cool. Summer low?
Summer low, it's got to be garbage juice. Max mentioned it before, and it's so
Conrad nailed it right at the beginning. Yeah.
It was so funny that exactly. It's so funny that like we went to this tasting session and garbage juice is one of the off flavors, and we're like, oh yeah, we know all about that.
All right. Well, Marcus, so nice to meet you. Thank you for bringing this beer to
problem.
and
Cheers.
thank you so much.
Enjoy.
Marcus Letter, head brewer of 6 Point. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to kind of continue the music with our friends Greg Kaler and Spencer Hamlin, and they're going to tell us a little bit about the special arrangement. So please welcome back pianist Greg Kaler and tenor Spencer Hamlin. Hey, Spencer! Oh, I like this. All right, cheers, cheers. And there's Greg. So everybody's drinking. I like this. So, gents. You're going to play a couple tunes for us. Can you tell us what you got in store?
Sure. I'm going to start with.
I'm going to stand here.
He's going to stand here and drink.
I do, yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
He's going to provide emotional support. I'm going to start with an Elliott Smith song called "Between the Bars." It's.
Elliott Smith. We get a little Elliott Smith.
It's well, there's no beating around the bush. It's a terribly depressing song, but it's very gentle in its harmony. Like all classical music, absolutely. And then we're going to segue into a piece that I wrote, which is a setting of a poem by William Butler Yeats, very appropriately called "A Drunken Man's Praise of Sobriety."
Greg Kaler, Spencer Hamlin.
and keep me dancing still, that I may stay a sober man. Although I drink my fill, sobriety is a jewel that I do much adore, and therefore keep me dancing while drunkards lie and snore. Oh, mind your feet, oh, mind your feet, keep dancing like a wave. And under every dancer, a dead man in his grave. No ups and downs, my pretty, a mermaid, not a punk. A drunkard is a dead man. And all dead men are drunk. All dead men are drunk.
Thank you so much, Spencer and Greg. All that happy music. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. And you can find Greg this, speaking of Dead Men Are Drunk, Greg is going to be in the Catacombs this fall. He's got works based on Frankenstein and a reprise of Telltale Heart. So he's got that whole literary, I bet he's read Infinite Jest. I bet all the way through. It's not just sitting there on a shelf looking pretty like the rest of us. Okay, so everybody ready for a game? All right. I have a volunteer already. All right, come on up. That's all right, don't be shy. Your friend, I like your friend's laugh. You're an easy laugh. I like that. Tell me your name.
Kevin.
Kevin, welcome. Where are you from, Kevin?
Originally Glen Rock, New Jersey.
Okay, and where are you now?
Jersey City, New Jersey.
And when did you start supporting WQXR?
College, when I was majoring in music and
right.
decided to go into business.
All right, Kevin, right?
Yeah.
All right. So the game we're going to play tonight is called Composer or Beer. And so the way this works is that I'm going to give you some crunchy sounding German names, and you're going to tell me whether it is a composer or a beer. All right, and you can look at the screen. We have Beethoven up there right now. See, that's right on the line, right? Beethoven? Don't know. Couldn't tell. Could be either one. All right, so I'm going to give you a couple of names. All right, you can watch them on the screen, and the crowd may help you. I don't know. So here's, you know the rules of composer or beer.
All right.
If you get any of them right or wrong, you will be getting the tote bag, the beer cozy, and the beer stein. So we'll start with an easy one. Grolsch. Composer or beer?
Beer.
Correct. It is a Dutch beer. It's about 400 years old, but tastes fresh every time. Okay, moving on. Graupner.
Ooh. Beer?
I'm sorry, it's Kristoff Grabner, a contemporary of Bach and Salomon, a very respected composer in his day. Weihenstephaner.
Oh, man. I'm going to go, I'll go beer. Why not? 3 for 3.
All right, you're correct. It's a
Or
beer.
2 for 3.
It's not just any beer. That's the oldest brewery in the world. They've been making beer in Bavaria for 1,000 years. We're moving on. Would you drink or listen to Dittersdorf?
Listen.
That's correct. Dittersdorf is a composer. There he is, Karl Ditters von Dittersdorf. The name we love to say on the radio, like guaranteed laughs every time. Erdinger.
Composer.
I'm
Beer,
sorry, that's
beer,
incorrect. It's a
beer.
wheat beer. They've been around since the 19th century.
Never heard of it.
It's all right. It's hard. You're a brewer too?
Yeah, I did work at a brewery.
You work at a brewery? What is this, an inside job?
Yeah. It was a German brewery too.
Oh my God.
The first
Did you get a good severance package?
German brewery since the Prohibition in the U.S.
What was it? Are you
High
just-
Point
are you-
Brewery in Butler, New Jersey.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
They will be very upset with me.
This is being streamed right now. Okay, let's move on to Erlebach. Erlebach.
Composer?
Correct.
All right.
That's Philipp Heinrich Erlebach over there from the 17th century. Kulmbacher. Kulmbacher.
Sounds like a beer.
And it is a beer! You're nailing it. You sound like a guy who brewed beer in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Froberger. Froberger. Is this a composer or beer, Kevin?
Wow. That one sounds like a beer too.
Don't tell that to Johann Jakob Froberger, because he sounds like a composer to me. Kevin, you've done a great job playing
All right.
composer or beer. Good
Thank
luck,
you.
and thank you for joining us tonight. All right, well done. Well done. All right. Does everybody have their next beer? Is there a no? Did I hear a resounding no? Impossible. Oh, you got yours. Okay. So to introduce us to our last beer from our friends at 6 Point, please welcome J.D. Linderman. I'll take anybody. No? Nope. We got J.D. Linderman. But I'll take whatever you got. JD! It's all right. Your company is offering enough. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So our friends here have a beer. I would like to know a little bit about this beer that they're drinking.
Okay.
Because I'm not drinking it right now. No hard feelings.
Hopefully that gets.
That's okay. We're
rectified,
good.
but,
Tell us about the beer.
So this is a New England style double IPA.
What makes it the double?
The alcohol percentage.
All right. Now we're talking.
This is about 8% alcohol.
Thank you so much.
It's about 8%. Generally, the cutoff for an IPA is 6.5.
Hey,
So
don't mention
anything higher?
cutoffs around here. Please. I'm still going.
So
I'm good. I'm good.
The concept with this beer was to basically showcase the hops. The hops in this beer are all from Australia. Galaxy, which is kind of like a hype hop right now.
Is that a thing?
Like, hype.
Get like Galaxy hops. Whoa.
Yeah, people are excited.
Okay.
And then we rounded it out with Vic's Secret, which is kind of described in the industry as Baby Galaxy.
Okay.
Similar sort of flavor profiles, but a little bit less. And then Enigma, which is another Australian hop. What you should be, the describers for this beer are like a lot of peach or passion fruit, mango, that sort of thing. The Galaxy does impose a little bit of like a dankness, but it shouldn't be super in your face, I guess.
Can I get just a quick temperature check? Is the dankness in your face? Do people feel like the dankness is in their face? Okay. Because there's got to be a little dank, not overly dank.
Yeah.
This is great. J.D. Linderman, what do you do at 6 Point?
I'm a brewer.
Oh, great.
I work under Marcus.
Oh, fantastic. And summer high, summer low.
Summer low's got to be subway stations. And, like, I will literally do anything to avoid walking into like that 100 degree sweat box. Just and high, probably I really enjoy taking ferries to avoid the subway stations.
All right. Yeah.
I live here in Manhattan, so ferry from Red Hook to Manhattan.
Oh, that sounds
Super
like-
great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see you on there.
All right.
JD.
Cheers, everyone.
From 6 Point. Undefined variable. It's got those Australian hops making it dank, but not too much so. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to welcome our next and final, beginning of our next and final guest. You may know him as a well-trained and amazingly talented viola virtuoso, or you may know him as a social media superstar. Please welcome to the Classical Beer Jam, That Viola Kid.
How's everybody doing? This is such a cool little concert. I've never done anything like this. And I thought it was really appropriate. There's actually a piece that's really special to me. And unfortunately, it's kind of a downer, but I still think it's beautiful all the same. Has anybody ever heard of Henri Vieuxtemps, the composer? He was a violin virtuoso, but he also wrote for the viola. He dabbled in the viola. There's like a viola sonata. There's this piece. There's even an obscure viola elegy by him that's really beautiful as well. But today I wanted to play the Capriccio. And I heard earlier Igor was playing a little bit of Paganini. And this actual piece was dedicated to Paganini. Vieuxtemps and Paganini were really close friends. And when Paganini died, Vieuxtemps was compelled to write this very piece for the viola. So this is Capriccio por alto sol, homage a Paganini.
That Viola Kid. That was amazing. So, that Viola Kid's not your given name.
No. My real name is Drew Alexander Ford.
And so you've trained to play that thing beautifully, amazing. But you also are like all over social media. For a lot of people first encountered you on YouTube, but more increasingly on Instagram. How did you like make that? Why?
Well, okay. So first of all, I was a senior in college. I went to the Robert McDuffie Center for Strings at Mercer University in Macon, Georgia. It's a very small school, about 25 people, but it's one of the highest level conservatories that I know of, but nobody knows about. So definitely check it out. It's incredible. Shout out to Robert McDuffie, you the realist. But anyway, so I was about to graduate, and I realized, I don't want to do the orchestral route as the meat and potatoes of my career. I want to create things that really make my heart sing. And I realized if you want to build a career, especially with classical music, you have to first have an audience. And then I kind of like worked backwards from there, and I realized you build an audience by solving people's problems. And so if people out in Kansas don't have a private teacher and they need to learn how to vibrato, you make a YouTube video on that and you actually add value to their lives. So I just started doing more and more of that, trying to just make my career about helping other people.
And so, yeah, that's worth a round of applause. Thank you. So, I've got last time I checked on Instagram, I got 128 followers. That's good, right? That's good. That's good. What are you laughing about? Now, so how many followers on Instagram do you have?
A little over 119,000.
That's a lot of people. Okay, so I'm going to ask you right now, right here and now. I want to make it 119 plus 125. So can everybody break out their phones? Or do a couple things. Get out your phones. Show me those blue faces. And follow That Viola Kid on Instagram.
Do you all want to be in my story?
And can we make a story? Yeah.
Yo, so I'm here at WQXR with my boy Matt Abramovitz and an incredible audience. Say hi. Woo. Go follow WQXR Classical.
Oh, thank you.
WQXR, thank you for having me.
All right, so I have to take a selfie for for the WQXR feed, and my fans. I'm going to take a selfie and let them know that I'm with a true Instagram star. And also to prove to my wife that I'm having beers with friends tonight. All right.
Yo.
All right, I'm going to post this picture on the WQXR Classical Instagram feed. Please follow WQXR Classical. In our stories, you'll see this and more from Drew. So Drew, your next project is something a little different than what you've done so far.
Yeah, so I'm actually literally, after I leave here, I'm going to go back to my apartment, pack up. I'm leaving to go to Japan for a month. I'm working with a friend of mine who is a producer and an incredible human being, and we're going to work on a mixtape. So I'm going to be doing classical music and hip-hop, and I'm going to be fusing the two genres a little bit.
All right, classical and hip-hop. Fantastic. Drew Ford, That Viola Kid, and you're going to bring some friends on. Who we got?
Okay, we got Anita Chen, we have Julia Danitz, we have Maximilian, and we also have Philip Solomon on the clarinet. We have so many incredible people. We're going to play Mozart's Clarinet Quintet for you all, the fourth movement. So to round it out.
All right, Drew Ford and his quintet. Welcome, welcome.
I forgot one thing. Hi, Mom. Wherever you are. Hi. I love you.
Too good. Too good. Philip Solomon, clarinet. The Mozart Clarinet Quintet, the theme and variations. Max Opholtz, cello. Julia Danitz, violin. Anita Chen, violin. And that viola kid over there, Drew Ford. I'd like to bring back all of our performers and brewers. Everybody take a bow. I'd like to have everybody on stage so we can say thank you to you for coming out for the Beer Jam. Please, Igor Lipinski's here. All of our friends from Six Point. Spencer, Greg. I think Sam's still in the house too. Hey, Jamie Foxx, the Jamie Foxx is here with us. So remember, tomorrow in Red Hook, Six Point is holding its Jammer Day. You can buy some exclusive cans and hang out with the team here. And big round of applause for all of our musicians. Amazing. Thank you, thank you. And thank you for coming out. This is our last beer jam here in the Greene Space for the summer, but I'll be in touch with more plans for us all to get together and have some more drinks and listen to music in the near future. So thank you very much for being here. And again, thanks for coming and supporting WQXR.